Hello everybody and welcome back. We're now looking at question 14 on the grade 8 Gauss from the year 2007. So what have we got here? At the 2007 Math Olympics, Team Canada won 17 out of a possible 100 medals. Which of the following is closest to the fraction of medals that they won? So we have a bunch of options here. None of them are 17 out of 100, which is the actual fraction. And we just want to know which one's closest. So 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8. What are we to do? Well, there's lots of things that we can do depending on whether or not we do or do not have our calculator with us. Okay? Now, if we have our calculator, the easiest thing to do is to grab it and say, okay, 17 out of 100, that's the fraction of medals they won. 17 divided by 100 has a decimal form of 0.17. So what I can do now is I can take a look at each of these fractions, compute them, get the decimal expansion, and I can very easily see which one is the closest to 0.17. Okay? So for example, 1 divided by 4, 1 out of 4, 0.25. That's kind of far away. But if I do something like 1 divided by 5, we're at 0.2. That's not that far from 0.17, and so you can list them all out and actually pick which is closest. So let's quickly go through that. It's not that bad. So 17 out of 100, 0.17. 1 out of 4, 0.25. 1 out of 5 is 0.2. Look how close those two are. They're off by 0.03. 1 out of 6 is 0.166666. It just keeps going on like that. But look how close that is. The 1/6 close to the 1/7. 1 out of 7, grab the calculator here, 1 divided by 7. 0.1428. Well, we're kind of getting far away from the 0.17. And 1 out of 8 is going to be even further away. It's 125. Okay, so we can see from there that 1/6 is the closest just by being able to compare the decimal expansions. And, you know, you can do some of these in your head, but if you have a calculator, it nicely computes the decimal expansions. What if we weren't able to bring our calculator? What if we forgot? What if we don't own one? What could we do then? Are we lost? Not at all. Okay, you can do lots of things. You could get a common denominator for all of these fractions, and if everybody has the same base, you can just compare the numerators. Now, that I would not recommend just because with the 8s and the 7s and the 6s, it's going to be kind of hard. But you can do other things. You can say, okay, 17 and 100, how close is that to 1 over 4? You know? Well, what we can do is we can multiply, we can cross-multiply here, and 4 times 17 is 68. 100 times 1 is 100. How close is 68 to 100? Okay, how close an approximation is this? Well, 68 is kind of far away from 100. Okay, how about 17 and 100? What I'm doing here is I'm sort of saying, well, they're basically equal. They're not. But what I'm doing is I'm just multiplying by 5 here and seeing how close I am to the number 1. Okay, so if I multiply by 5 on both sides, we get 85 out of 100. How close is that to 1? Okay, over here it would be 68 out of 100. How close is that to 1? Well, the 1/5 is closer. How about 1/6 and 17 out of 100? If they're very close, if it's a good approximation, I should be able to multiply both sides by 6. I'll get 102 over 100. And that's really close to 1. 102 is very close to 100. Well, how about 17, 100, and 1 out of 7? Well, if it's a good approximation, if they're basically the same fraction, I should be able to multiply through by 7. 7 times 17 is 119 out of 100. Well, that's getting very far away from 1. I mean, the 102 is really where it's at. And we finish things off with the 8, and you'll get 136 out of 100, very far away from 1. Okay, this number is 1.36. Not really near 1, but over here it's 1.02. That's kind of close to 1. So no matter how we do it, we're going to see that 1/6 is the right answer, either by comparing decimal expansions or by saying, are these fractions approximately equal, and manipulating them so they all have a common base of 100 and compare that to the number 1. Lots of ways to do it. There are other ways. Common denominator for everything, as I said, works just as well. You pick what's best for you. I personally think going with the calculator is faster, so bring a calculator if you can. But if you don't have it, you aren't stuck with a question like this. It did take a little while, but we did get our answer. I'm just going to double check that it was C. Right? It was C. Yeah, C in the middle there. 1/6. All right. So that does it for question 14. I will see you guys in the next video for question 15.